Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. I see the world through ice covered in ink and bleach. Cross out the ones who heard my cries and watched me weep. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. Take my eyes open to force reality. Why can't you just let me eat my weight in glee? I live inside my own world of make-believe. Kids screaming in the cradles, profanities. Some days I feel skinnier than all the other days. Sometimes I can't tell if my body belongs to me. I love everything. Fire spreading all around my room. My world's so bright, it's hard to breathe, but that's alright. Hush. I wanna taste your content, hold your breath and feel the tension. Devils hide behind redemption. Honesty is a one-way gate to hell. I wanna taste consumption, breathe faster to waste oxygen. Hear the children sing aloud. It's music till the whip burns out.
I just can't let you go. Lord knows that I've tried to. You said I was the only one. No one likes being lied to. You made this mess and left me with the pieces. Now I wanna burn all the bridges between us.
Hi everyone, my name is Hayley and I'm a proud Gukuyalunji woman, a descendant of the Western Sunset people of far north Queensland, and English, Danish and Italian ancestors. I'm currently studying a Bachelor of Event Management here at ICMS.
Hi, my name is Zali. I'm a proud Indigenous woman of Western Australia. I'm currently in my first year of studying Hospitality Management here at ICMS, as well as working at Novotel Manly Pacific.
In this great island home of ours, Australia, Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Australians have lived and practiced their culture for tens of thousands of years.
Today, each and every one of us who live on this great land can be a part of the continuing of these ancient cultures.
By acknowledging the traditional owners of the land and waters on which we are standing.
We would like to pay respects to all elders past, present and future.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Open Day.
It's like a classroom, fantastic.
Yeah, thank you all for being here today. For those of you on campus, I know the weather is a little bit drizzly, and hello to everyone joining us on the live stream as well. We have a big day prepared for you all, so I hope you all enjoy. My name is Jodie Randall, and I'm the Senior Manager on the Domestic Development team. I look after Australia and New Zealand for ICMS Development. My team and I are the first point of contact for all future student engagement, and we're often the first people that you get in touch with, and we help you from that journey from start to finish with your application.
And good morning, guys. My name is Phil Watson. I'm the Vice President of Global Development here at ICMS. I work alongside Jody and the domestic team each and every day, but I also am involved with the international side of our student population here at ICMS, one which we're very proud of. So for any international students in the crowd today and also online, welcome to ICMS. We look forward to seeing you here today as well. So today, what are Jody and myself covering off? This is just a very quick high-level summary for you, just so you have some context for the structure of today. So we're going to go through the courses, the application process, and how you hopefully get into ICMS. The key differences about what we do here and why we think it's the right way to do things in the higher ed, the university space. We're going to go through things like tuition fees, high academic places, scholarships, our fantastic work integrated learning program, which is our internship program, if you like. Accommodation for any regional students, even local students who want to live on campus and also online. We'll be talking about that today. And then also, what's the outcome? What does this all mean? What does it lead to? Also known as our graduate capabilities. So let's get into it.
So today's job market demands employees who have industry-specific knowledge and practical soft skills.
The thing is, this creates a challenge for organisations when they're building their workforce. And that also has a challenge and implication for the graduates themselves who are trying to prepare themselves for that same job market at the same time.
So because of this, we're now seeing an overwhelming amount of graduates who finish their degree, but they don't have that essential mix of industry knowledge and practical skills to find work.
So to evidence this is a fairly recent article at the end of 2019 in the New Daily, and you can see just in the headline, it's pretty clear what they're getting at. Universities are failing our graduates. And if you have a look for some of the quotes through here, it talks about the disconnection essentially between what's happening at universities and then what's happening in the workforce, and particularly at that entry-level role. Going through undergrad, which is what most of you will be looking at here today, there's been this significant disconnect which has been identified between what happens in the classroom and then what employers are looking for at the other end. That's why you're here, that's why you're studying a degree, is to get a job, build a career. So it would make sense that the two align, and it doesn't currently happen.
So how do you ensure that you're going to finish your degree and you're ready for the workforce? Well, you need a degree that's going to give you both the practical skills and that industry knowledge combined into one.
And the thing about ICMS, the great thing about ICMS, is that we're big enough to connect you, but we're also small enough to connect with you on a personal level. That's one of the many things that we pride ourselves on here at ICMS. It's that big connection element. So we work with big industry all day, every day, and all the way down through to boutique as well. Not just big names, both local, interstate, and internationally as well. But our job is to connect our students day in, day out with industry at every level. Our other philosophy here at ICMS is mentorship. You'll see a we mentor around the campus quite a lot, but that's what we believe in. We believe each and every day our job is to mentor all of our students in many ways, both inside and outside the classroom, into building their career success. Our industry training element is obviously very important. It's part of that as well, where we place every student guaranteed for a minimum 600 hours in their field of study. It's not a nice to have if you're lucky, if you're a good student and you're getting good grades, hey, we'll find you a work placement, maybe for a week or something like that. Every student must complete the will period with us, which is 600 hours. They actually have credit points assigned to it, so you can't graduate without completing it. And for us, all this does is build all of you guys up towards that employability and long-term career success.
So ICMS is your professional mentor. From your first point of contact, like I mentioned at the start, you'll be put in touch with a student advisor, such as myself, or someone else from the domestic development team who you might see floating around on campus today. We're here to help you from start to finish with your application. All the nitty-gritty questions that you have, and leaving high school, which you often have a lot of questions about that too. We're also the ones that can help you apply for early entry and the many scholarship opportunities we have as well. Once you are a current student, you can get access to our student services team. They're here to help with all your class, timetabling requests, and everything like that once you're actually running up as a student. And our academic team. All of our faculty are industry experts, so you can be sure that they're passing down first-hand knowledge to you in the classroom. our career mentors. So this refers to the WIL team, as Phil was saying just earlier. These are the team that will set you up, get you prepared for your internship before you go out, and they put you in touch with our many industry mentors. Student success is also a big, important thing here at ICMS. We love making sure our students are set up for success in and out of the classroom. So we've got a wellness team and peer mentor system here, so you can get any academic or wellness help throughout your degree. Lastly, we've got student experience. So we do have a whole team dedicated to looking after your experience outside the classroom too. These guys look after all the fun stuff on campus, so all the sporting clubs, the associations, and all the fun O-Week activities as well.
So this all sounds great, but what can you actually study here at ICMS? And I actually heard, literally about 3 minutes ago, someone talking to our head of program saying, I don't know what I want to study, I don't quite know where I'm heading yet, and that's fine. Particularly even if you're in year 12, it can be a little bit daunting. At this point, you've got a lot happening, a lot going on, but this is what happens at ICMS. So we have quite a broad range of degrees here, majors, some people call them. We have everything from accounting to fashion and global brand management, hospitality, straight business, events, entrepreneurship, marketing, tourism, property, and a personal favourite of mine as an alumni from this program, sport management. But the thing about the ICMS degree is they all have the same core business subjects to them. So no matter which degree you're picking essentially a business degree. But then let's take sport, for example. You're choosing the the business side of the sports industry. In the fashion and global brand management space, you're picking the business side of the fashion industry. Okay, so that's kind of the way to look at it, the way to think of it. And the good thing about that is the core business skills you learn are applicable in any role and any job you have at any point in your career. Even, for want of a better example, charities are essentially a business from the point of view that they have to make and generate enough money and revenue to stay in operation. They might not want to make a lot of profit, that might not be their goal, but nonetheless, fundamentally, it can be seen as a business in that regard. So the skills you learn in all of our degrees are applicable at any stage of your career. You can see on the side here as well the structure, very high level structure of the degree. So the first year, the first 2 trimesters is actually a nested diploma. So some students will come along and just do the diploma, check it out, see what they like about the industry, what they don't like. Other students will just enroll straight in the full 3-year bachelor. That would be the most common avenue, but nonetheless, it's still there. And you can see in the second year, that's when the industry training occurs. That's when you go off into the placement period in your industry for the 9-month block, which Jodie will go through in a little bit more detail soon. We do have postgraduate degrees as well, but we know today is always 99% undergraduate, so I'm not going to spend the time on it because we know there's a lot happening today. But for anyone who is looking at postgraduate degrees, please come have a chat to us. There is a stand as well today, and we do have quite a broad range of postgraduate degrees. We go all the way up to the master's level, we just don't have doctorates. That's the only piece.
Perfect. So you've found a course that you like. Now, how do you apply? We've got multiple application pathways that you can go through at ICMS, as you can see up on the screens. Our first one here is just a direct application, or we call it the direct entry scheme. It's a short form that you can complete on our website at any time of the day. It shouldn't take you longer than 5 minutes. And that will come straight through to someone on my team who will then get in touch with you and will start building that relationship and helping you through to the start date of classes. The following one up here is alternate entry pathways, or early entry. For anyone who's in the later years of schooling, you might have heard of that. It is exclusive to current year 12 students, so if you're in year 11 or 10, you can't apply just yet. But basically, a successful offer for early entry means that you'll get a guaranteed offer before you sit your year 12 exams. So if you are in year 12 and you're watching today, our applications are still open. They close on the 7th of September. The third one up here is UAC, or the University Admissions Centre. So if you have a UAC account, that's great. If not, you don't actually need one, but they are quite popular and they're pushing them in schools a lot at the moment. But if you do have a UAC account, we definitely recommend putting ICMS as your first preference. Not only this, paired with like a direct application or an early entry application, this will boost your chances of getting an offer during the main round. And lastly up here, we have the school recommendation scheme. So this is actually UAC's form of early entry. So again, if you've got a UAC account, make sure ICMS is first preference, and you can also put in an early application through the SRS system. So just a little further deep dive into alternate entry. We do have 3 pathways at ICMS. So One is probably going to be more suited to you than the others. Firstly, we have standard early entry, which is for the general, all-around high achieving student. We then have elite athlete and performer entry. So this one is pretty self-explanatory, but if you're in drama or the performing arts, or if you're doing athletics or sport at national or even representative level, you can go through this pathway. And thirdly, our leadership entry program. So again, this is for anyone who's in a leadership role in or out of school. It could be school captain, house prefect, anything like that. Or even if you're doing volunteering or charity work outside of school too, that counts for leadership as well. So if you are in Year 12 or the more senior years of your schooling and you're looking at coming to do a course with us, but you want to see what everything's about, I recommend you come along to our degree taster day. It's being held on Thursday, the 18th of January, 2024. Basically, you can come along and see what a day in the life of an ICMS student is like. Sit in real lectures, hear from our program managers, and potentially meet some new friends before you start the real deal in February. So at ICMS, we understand you have a busy schedule, and a lot of you are probably already working part-time in amongst school and studying and exams, so that's why we've crafted a flexible timetable to suit your lifestyle, so you can fit everything around your studying. A full-time study load is a 2 to 3 day timetable every week, between Mondays and Wednesdays. So you've got the back end of the week there to prioritise work, catching up with your friends and making sure you still spend some time with your family. We do also have 2 campuses. We're obviously at our main Manly campus today, but if you do live closer to the city, we do have a CBD campus on Pitt Street as well. And depending on your lifestyle, you can do part-time study or accelerated study options too. So some of you might know that February is the big intake for most Year 12 leavers at most institutions, and it's the same here at ICMS. It's our big domestic intake. But if you aren't quite ready, you can start in May or August. I know some people are looking at probably travelling or maybe doing a gap year to go do a European summer. You can start in February if you don't want to put it off for a whole year, and then if you do want to go travelling, you can defer those middle intakes. So you're not putting it off for a whole year before you get stuck into studying.
So the fun stuff, how does tuition work here at ICMS? We get that question pretty regularly, so we thought it would be best to address it today, and then obviously if you have questions, please feel free to come chat to us. So there are 3 main ways that students can cover their tuition fees here. Most people are familiar with a thing called HEX. Most people know what that is, but that's actually called HEX Help. Now the HELP element of that acronym stands for Higher Education Loan Program. So that's the same element as fee help, which we have here at ICMS, and that is the government's tuition fee process for covering higher education tuition for Australian citizens if they choose to. So at ICMS and at every other private institution, such as Bond, Torrens, University, Notre Dame, we all use the fee help system. Same concept as HEX Help. If you elect, the government covers the tuition fees for you up front, and then you pay it off when you start earning over the minimum annual income, just the same as HEX. So that's the way it works. The other option for you as well is direct payment. So some students will elect to pay term by term, that's not a problem, and others will do a mix. So you might want to put, I don't know, 90% on fee help and pay 10% each term, and you can change that each term. So they're the 3 options for you in terms of payment. So fee help is our equivalent of HEX help. Now, not to make you too confused, but just to make you more comfortable than anything, public universities do use fee help as well. They primarily use it for their postgraduate studies. So I actually studied my MBA at a public university, and I went through fee help. So it does have that connection as well to public universities, but most people just aren't too familiar with it. So high academic places. These have actually been at ICMS for quite a while. Okay, now these are what we call them HAPs for short. They're equivalent to a CSP, which stands for Commonwealth Supported Place at a public university. So for those of you that know a little bit more about the public education system at a higher ed level, these are now fairly common at public universities depending on the government at the time. But these are essentially a way that a government says to a student, look, we're going to permanently subsidise around 40% of your degree for you. You cover the rest through HEX, but then only pay back essentially 60% of it. So we said, look, that's not too fair for students coming to private institutions, and we have chosen to create a thing called a high academic place, which essentially means if you receive an ATAR above the cutoff, which does move year to year, but as a guide, it's going to fall between 70 to 75. We're not sure where it's going to land just yet. If you fall above that cutoff, then you will receive a tuition fee bursary reduction that will align the price for you for every subject to match a CSP. Okay, so that's designed for people who, that's the only reason they're kind of nervous about coming to ICMS. They know it's a place for them. We want to take that out of the game for you because that shouldn't be your concern. These are limited though, they're not unlimited. The CSPs are also limited at public universities as well. So there are full fee paying students in the public space as well. They will pay the full fee. And ICMS must be listed number 1 in UAC if you have a UAC account. If you don't have a UAC account at all, that's okay. We still look at your ATAR for access to this program. But if you do have a UAC account, then ICMS must be number 1. Otherwise, we just won't get you in the list to give you an offer with your high academic place. We also have a fantastic and a very prestigious scholarship program here at ICMS. There is also a presentation today on that as well, up in Classroom 13. You can see here we do award a significant amount, a significant value of scholarships given our size here at ICMS. We can't find a scholarship program in industry that is as big as this per capita of student. So over $2 million, or about $2 million in 2022, and 250,000 of that was to our Indigenous population, which is fantastic. So I strongly recommend applying for our program. There are two kind of points for scholarships, if you like. There's scholarships for new students. So everyone sitting here today, when you start at ICMS, you'd be classified as a new student. There's scholarships for you coming through, and there's one for every degree, plus our corporate partners who have scholarships for particular degrees. But we don't use scholarships as a way to say, hey, look at us, this looks fancy, this looks pretty, come to ICMS, you'll love it here, and then once you're here, there's nothing else for you. We have a huge range of scholarships as well for current students. So whether you do or you don't get a scholarship when you start at ICMS, you can go for more and be successful, hopefully, whilst you're a current student here as well. So this part here, often people get their phones out now and take a quick photo. For the guys and the girls online, often a screenshot as well. But this is just a really quick summary for you to know some of the big key dates coming up here at ICMS. So as Jodie mentioned, early entry does close on the 7th of September. And then on the Saturday, 2 days later, the early entry interviews commence. Now you don't just have a 24-hour window to book in for your interview. We're not that crazy. But we actually have interview slots open now. So you can jump online to book your interview slot, or down at the admissions table today, up or down this corridor here. You can jump on the computers there to book your interview. But we also do have interview slots available in the week after. That Saturday is the big day. That's the day where probably 90% of people will be interviewed. But if you can't do that Saturday, we do add that to the mix for you as well. On the 28th of September, we have a free HSC tutoring day here run by DMIX. So if you're doing English, Business Studies or Maths, then I would strongly recommend jumping online, registering for that day, and coming along to that day of tutoring before the HSC exams. The 15th of November is a scholarship deadline, which we were just kind of talking about. That is a really hard deadline. So if you don't have your application in by that point in time, the scholarship board will not accept it. So I would suggest aiming a couple of days ahead of time because things always happen, but that is the deadline for you. And I would suggest talking to your student advisor to keep them up to date with how you're going, so they can also keep the scholarship board across it for you to make sure they know it's coming. On the 23rd of November, generally a lot of students are then off at schools by this point. They're not in town, so we hold the parent information evening, and I strongly recommend coming along to that as well. It's a great time to ask questions that maybe your kids don't want to know about, or things they don't think they need to know about, or don't know they need to know about. And you can ask questions without them getting embarrassed. But we do have students come along to that as well, I should say. But it's a great event to find out more information, particularly once you're really in the thick of it, when your child is starting to really look at university and decide what they're doing next year. You've got different questions that come up at different times. On the 15th of December, the UAC preferences closed for main round. So the day before that is the wonderful thing called the ATARs that are released in your Year 12 results. So we don't want to focus on that one too much. We know it's scary, so we're looking ahead for you. But if you do not have ICMS listed at number 1 by midnight on the 15th, you're incredibly unlikely to be receiving an offer in the main round on the 21st of December. Okay, so you actually, all the institutions have about 6 days to do all the processing in the back end. So you have Thursday the 14th, and Friday the 15th to make sure you update your preferences to make sure it's number 1, and then the main round 21st. And then, as Jodie was saying before, the 18th of January is degree taster day. So there is a few things after that date, like orientation week and a few other bits and pieces, but in terms of your immediate next steps, they're the key dates for you.
Perfect. So once you've made it through all those big key dates, you've got your results back, you've got your offer, and you've come to your first day of classes, you're going to have our wonderful faculty here to look after you from day one. They're all internationally experienced. They come from really diverse backgrounds in terms of their corporate experience, so you can be sure that they're bringing their knowledge straight to the classroom and giving it to you firsthand. We also work really closely with our industry connections too, so the partners that we'll talk about in a few slides, but we get them in quite regularly to do guest lectures. We do masterclasses and panels in here, so you can hear from different experts throughout the whole time that you study at ICMS.
So as Jodie touched upon before, one thing that does set us apart at ICMS is our student support. We're very proud of it. Given our size, we are able to really support our students in a one-on-one way, more so than some of the big institutions. Some of the big public universities have over 60,000 students, and there's just no way that they can comfortably support their students in a really personal way. We have around about 2,000 students here at ICMS, so it's way more manageable for us. So we have the wellness team that Joey touched upon before, which is there for any emotional or social need that you may have either on an ongoing basis. They can be involved with that, or even just a one-off. So that's all here free for our students on campus and online. Our Student Success Centre is there for all the academic support of students outside the classroom. So our academics are fantastic. They will actually reply to your emails if you have questions and hang back after class to talk to you. But if you need the next level of support, then our Student Success Centre is there for that. And then we also have our peer-assisted learning service called PALS, which is where if a student gets a distinction or a high distinction in a subject, they can volunteer their time to tutor students in that subject in the coming terms. So our academics are fantastic. Our Student Success Centre is also fantastic, but sometimes you guys just speak in a slightly different lingo, different language, and you catch up with your mentor for a couple of sessions and it makes sense and you get it. So it's also really good to be a PAL. It's great for your CV. It's really good to be giving back to the community as well, and that's all for free as part of the system here at ICMS. And then we have an on-campus library as well, or resource centre. So here, this is more the fun side. So we do have a lot of sport here at ICMS for anyone who likes more serious sport or even casual sport. The top left, so the left-hand column really is the more sort of week-to-week things we have going on here at ICMS. You can see quite a range. Some of these are done on our multi-purpose sporting facility up on the headland. That's actually what's in the photo there. And some of them are done off-site and in the local competitions or other facilities. And the right-hand side is just an example of some of the teams we've sent to uni games. It's now called Nationals, recently changed to Nationals, so if anyone has any older siblings who's been to Nationals, that's the same thing. So we're competing against Macquarie Uni, UTS, all those guys at Nationals. Yes, we do send 10-pin bowling and lawn bowls, so I don't know, they're obviously going for a bit of fun, but whatever you want to get into, you're more than welcome. Accommodation. So we have a lot of students who live here on campus. I was one myself when I grew up, and I grew up pretty local to ICMS, so even if you are a local student, living on campus is a great option. But for any regional students online today or anyone here in the audience, this is obviously more of a priority for you because you need somewhere to live. The idea for our on-campus accommodation is this, particularly for this building, which has accommodation above us and the building behind us today. The idea is that once you check in O week, for the 14 weeks, including O week, your accommodation fee includes every single thing that you need. 3 meals a day, Monday to Friday, brunch and dinner on the weekends, all your utilities included. Your room is even clean for you once a week, so mum and dad, they're going to be clean at least once a week. We do vacuum around, the piles are closed, not through them, so whatever's exposed will be cleaned anyway. But the concept is the accommodation fee means you can check in and you can in theory not leave campus for that whole 14 weeks and you come out the other side well rested, looked after, fed and in one piece. So a bit of ease of mind for everyone as well. And you're not going to find the value you get for the accommodation fee is roughly, for the most expensive option, I think it's about $490 a week, including all your meals, all your bills, utilities, right over one of the best, we think is the best beach in the world. You're not going to find a better rental rate than that anywhere in Sydney. Now, for any regional students here today or online, we do also have a regional bursary. So to say thank you for the commitment you guys have made, particularly through a few hard years during COVID when everything shut down and particularly the regional tourism space kind of went pretty quiet. You actually get 50% off your first 2 terms of accommodation here at ICMS when you start in February. So that's just a little bit of a side note for you. We just want to give back to you guys as well.
So at ICMS, we're proud to work with over 1,000 industry partners, and they help us shape the leaders of tomorrow. As you can see from this snapshot, which by the way isn't all 1,000 of them, we couldn't fit them all on the same page, there's something for everyone when it comes time to doing your internship with us. And it's a great stepping stone for you to figure out what you're going to need to have in terms of skills before you go into your career. Our WIL program is truly unmatched at ICMS, and we often see our placements translating into full-time work for some of our students. So if they haven't already found work, they're still leaving with the industry knowledge and the practical skills to get to where they need to be. We even have some students doing their placements over in Disney World in Florida at the moment, so it's a real testament to how successful this program is and how many doors it can open up for you.
So obviously this is all sounding great, and these are not new for us. Things like industry training we've done literally since day one. The education industry is starting to catch up, and even the government is starting to catch up, realising how important it is to have this connection between industry and education, but we've been doing this since day one. So what does this mean for our graduates? What does it mean on your graduation day and beyond? Well, it means a couple of things. Firstly, when we designed all of our degrees, the first thing we did was went to industry. We knew there was a disconnect. Even though we've been doing this for years, we just knew there was a disconnect in the industry. And we said, hey guys, what do you need from our graduates when they graduate to make them employable? Pretty simple question, long answer. Our academics spent a lot of time with industry working this out, months and months and months. So from that, we then did what's called a backward course design. Most institutions will start at day one with a degree and then just kind of go along and get to the end. That's the general concept. We did the other way, sorry. We went in reverse. We said, what do you want, industry? They told us. We then said, okay, great. That's what you have to have on your last day of class in term 9. Let's go back. Day by day, class by class, week by week, term by term. We worked all the way back to day 1, class 1, and said, right, this is where you're starting. This is how you get into the other end. And you can see here that the things that are on this screen, things like leadership, problem solving, being a global citizen, collaboration, those types of things, aren't things that are so specific and time sensitive that by the time you start, finish, and maybe get a couple of years into your career, they're changing. These things are going to be helpful and usable and needed in your whole career in any job that you pick, whether it be in the industry you study with us or in 15, 20, 30 years from now, you've probably made a bit of a shift in your career, but you can still use these skills and capabilities throughout your whole career. So at ICMS, to sum up essentially for you guys, there's a lot of things that make us different and we're very proud of that. We don't shy away from it. That's why we're up here today talking about it. But one of the other things is that we believe in more than your ATAR. Yes, there are some components where ATAR comes into play, but for your admissions purposes, we don't use ATAR for entry. That makes some people a little bit nervous, striving for a 95 ATAR, which is fantastic. And we have students here who get that ATAR. It's incredible, and congratulations. But the thing is, we don't believe it's a good predictor of future success. We find a lot of our students who actually do the best in their placement, maybe even have that mid-range ATAR. Things like scaling really impact students who do particular subjects. So what we do is we look at subject marks for entry. That shows us the raw mark that you got in the exams to show us how you did and how you applied yourself. It takes out the scaling element to be getting an ATAR. We also have an interview process. Some of our entry pathways have a compulsory interview process that you must go through for entry. On others, it's optional, but it allows us to get to know you as a person and understand you and your background and why you are where you are in your current situation, which may have things impacting your admission and application, but it allows us to see you as a person, not just a number on a page. Even if it's a set of numbers, a set of scores, subject scores, we still want to get to know you before you start. We have very personal classes here. This is too big for us for a lecture hall. You'll have master classes like this where we have industry come in for classes and talk to our students. It'll be like this. But our classrooms, actually, the guys at the back, you're in a classroom right now. These doors close off. The biggest classroom is around 25 to 35 students here at ICMS. We don't believe in the 400 lecture hall style. Now, some people then say, oh, that's just like school. Phil, I just finished school. I don't want to be back at school. Get grumpy and walk it. No. But it's not like that. It's university style teaching and learning, just in a smaller environment. Okay? Doesn't mean the teaching's any different, it's just in a smaller environment. Jodie covered off the 2 to 3 day a week timetable, but that's obviously really important now for students. I remember when I came through, everyone seemed to put uni first and then work, but just over time it's changed. Everyone seems to put work first and tries to fit uni around work. So we've really condensed the timetable so you're only here for 2, maybe on 3 days a week. Okay. We do have online options, but our primary focus is face-to-face, but there are a number of our courses that have online elements to them. You can pick those subjects to do online throughout your degree, and a small number of our degrees, which you can find on our website, are done fully online as well. So depending on any regional or interstate people joining us today, or even in the room, you obviously can enrol in those courses, but our primary focus is face-to-face. We believe what it brings to the table is better for you. As Jodie also mentioned, the personal student advisor approach is really important to us here at ICMS. Every student, as soon as you inquire or apply at ICMS, you will be attached essentially to an ICMS development team member, and it'll be our role to support you on your application up to commencement. So ask us all the questions, that's what we're here for. But you don't really get that kind of support elsewhere, and we're very proud of it. But you also have our student support team once you start. So you'll get essentially moved to a new team member, a new staff member, and they'll be with you on your journey for your whole 3 years as well. And the mental culture, obviously we've covered off a lot today, but it's something that's really embedded in what we do each and every day. We believe strongly in mentoring our students both inside and outside the classroom, both through theoretical knowledge, practical experience, but also just the connections that you're building with your classmates, but also your lecturers. A lot of our students will be getting jobs and placements and graduate roles through their lecturers during their time here at ICMS. That's one way that it works quite well.
Well, thanks guys. That is it from Phil and I for this session. I want to thank you all for being here on campus, and thank you for joining us on the live stream if you're watching at home. I hope you enjoyed the day. We have a bit of time now if you want to come and chat to us or ask us some questions before the next session starts. So yeah, enjoy Open Day.